Hey, how you doing? This is Nick, and I wanted to talk a little bit about day 1 and day 2 of the Tony Robbins Comeback Challenge. It's been really cool to be a part of this thing. I highly recommend it if you're interested at all, if you even the slightest inkling, because it is free to do. You just go to tonyrobbins.com and you can sign up. And it's really fun. I'm not going to be able to go into detail about everything. I've been taking notes. I've got, I don't know how many pages of notes I've got, but I've actually been I've been retyping all the notes, which helps me kind of go through it again and putting them all on my blog. So there'll be a link in the description to my blog, and I'll put it on the screen here. You won't be able to click this, but this is it right here. Or here, wherever. It's just nickborsellino.com/blog. And so it's really cool. This whole thing, this whole philosophy that Tony has is, being kind to yourself, believing in yourself. It's kind of like that positive affirmations, but much bigger than that, it seems, and he talks a lot about like your stance, the way you carry yourself, keeping your shoulders back and like upright. And a lot of times I notice that about myself. I'm very hunched over, and it's just something that's been the way that my posture's ended up over many years. And so that's one of the big things that out of the 2 days out of 7 that he's brought up so many times, is that this posture and the way you carry yourself. And so I'm going to try to be more cognizant of that, and he talks a lot, I think I already said this, he talks a lot about not being so hard on yourself, yet at the same time, he says people's biggest problem is thinking they're not supposed to have one, and we all have problems. And part of this comeback challenge is, you get beat down and then you get back up again. And that whole part of like, not only, especially right now, right? Like the world is shut down and a lot of people are like, don't know what to do with themselves coming out of this. I'm one of them. Like my whole world was just flipped upside down. And he's like, we can either come back and be back at where we were, or we can be a level above that. And, it's not going to be overnight, most likely, but he said this yesterday, was that like he wants to change the trajectory by like 10%. And right away, you won't notice that 10%. But over time, as that grows, it'll be a huge difference. And I am a huge proponent for like the baby steps. When I try to make drastic changes overnight, I fail, and then I feel miserable about myself. But when I make little steps, like when I got a gym membership, I didn't say I'm going to go to the gym every day. I did not say that. I knew it wasn't going to happen. Even if I did it for the first week, it was, I'm going to get a gym membership. I'm going to get some new gym sneakers. I'm going to try to go once a week. And I thought to myself, that's an attainable goal. I could go once a week, We talked about stress. We talked about having breakthroughs, what triggers a breakthrough, being the creator of our life, be an optimist, not a pessimist. Breakthroughs come from breakdowns. Turn your mess into your message. I mean, he's just like one saying after another, all these cliches, but he fills it in with other stuff. But I mean, this is just like some of the stuff I'm writing down is just, it's all good stuff. He talked about this story we tell ourselves about ourselves, and like this not good enough thing, or I can't do this because of that, and it's all just like self-limiting beliefs. And I want to share this exercise that he did, because I thought it was really cool, and I'm pretty sure that I've done this before because it seemed familiar when we did it, but I'm going to do this with you really quickly, right? I just want you to look around your room real quick, look for everything brown, and take a mental note of everything brown, right? All right. Now I want you to close your eyes and think of all that brown stuff, right? Now tell me the things that were red in the room. All right. Now try green. Can you think of anything green that was in the room? No, it's not possible because you're focused on the brown stuff, right? And so what this little exercise did was show that, you know, this happens with anything in your life. If you're focused on one thing, you won't even notice the rest of it. So if I'm focused on all the negative, the bad, what's going wrong in my life, that's what I'm going to focus on. That's what I'm going to get more of. If I'm focused on the good, the positive, gratitude, love, all that good stuff, I'm going to have more of that in my life. And it's all about perspective, and it's all about shifting our perspective. So he started with that yesterday, and he talked about it again more today. Hey, if you're enjoying this at all, go down below, hit the little thumbs up thing, subscribe, and ring that little bell that's next to the subscribe thing so you can get notified the next videos that I put out. All right, I'm going to try to do more of these positive, uplifting kind of videos. Let's keep this roll going, all right? Like I said, I'm going to do these videos every day after the challenge. 2 more little cliche quotes. He said, change your story and change your life. And beliefs create and beliefs destroy. And again, it's that same thing of like, if I tell myself this is the way it is, then that's the way it is, right? There's that other saying that he didn't say today, but it's a very popular saying that whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. It's that same thing. It's like whatever you put your mind to, whether it's good or bad, is what you're going to get. So then he wanted us to pick a new emotional virtue. Just the best thing that you could have, or your emotional virtue. And I said love would be the one, right? And behind love, I wanted to back it with faith, hype, gratitude, determination, courage. And then it was like, once I got on that roll, I started thinking of all these things. And they're all these emotions that I've felt in my life. But they're not ones that came to the forefront that I think about when I think about my emotions. But once I changed my mindset, just like I did when I changed that color, it was like all of a sudden, that's what I was thinking about, was all those positive things. So there's no way I'm going to get to all of this stuff, right? So I'm skipping a whole bunch of things. That's why I said join the thing. You can watch the replays. I mean, it's great stuff. Yesterday we had an assignment to go online onto the Facebook group, which this is all held through a Facebook group. And we had to go online and say what our old story was and then tell what our new story is. And, you know, I have it right here. My old story was, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm weak, I don't want to fail. What if they don't like me? And I don't actually remember what I said my new story is going to be, but I remember the one thing that I remember thinking was, I just want to feel good enough. You know, if there was one thing I could have, it would just to feel good enough. I don't have to be the best whatever, anything. I just want to be okay with myself in my own skin, you know? So today he's talking about fight or flight or freeze, and how our 2 million-year-old brains in here, right, are so used to like the caveman days is what they had to have this stuff for, where they're like actual predators that they were worried about. And now our predators are in our minds for the most part. I mean, we fight or flight or freeze because of things in our head. Our new predator is self-doubt. Our new predator is not feeling good enough. It's these negative self-beliefs, and then we go, oh, we got to do something about this. So he talks about like when this negative talk starts coming in, that we need to stop it right away. Like as soon as you hear it coming in, just go, nope, that's my old story. New story, you know, and just try to do that. And my therapist has actually told me the same thing. There's this shame cycle. I have it written down right here. It sits right on my desk that we've talked about. And I go from I say something or I think something to don't feel heard or understood. And I go into this shame cycle that as soon as I'm there, then I go into feeling hurt and close down, react and push away. And she said, you need to stop it as soon as you get to that first one. But it happens so fast, right? And Tony's saying the same thing. You got to stop it. You just got to stop it in its tracks. And so it's really difficult. It's going to take a lot of practice for me to do that. But I'm feeling, I don't know, this whole thing, the way that he does it feels like he gives you some empowerment, which is really cool. And he talked about this book that he read pretty early on in his career called The Magic of Believing by Claude M. Bristol. And he made it sound like it was a book that really helped form his whole thing that he does. So I'm actually going to look it up on my phone and see if I can get it through the audiobook app that I listen to. I did find it on Amazon here. I'm going to put a link for this down in the description if you're interested in it. You can get it on paperback for $5.83 or on Kindle for 25 cents. Tony, again, he makes you like really think about your posture and like bringing your shoulders back. And, you know, he does this a lot. You know, he's like he's this very manly guy, and don't feel like I'm a very manly guy. And so to like forcefully get in touch with that part of myself is so foreign to me. But when I do it, it makes me feel more confident, you know, and that not good enough thing that's in my head goes, it's like, what is that guy talking about, you know? It's weird. It's really weird. And he talked about the difference between an affirmation and an incantation. And an affirmation is like, you know, saying, I'm good enough. You know, it's like Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. You know, and if I'm doing it like this and I'm quiet and I'm calm, like how believable am I to myself? But if I'm up like this and I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, gosh darn it, people like me. You know, there's like a power to that. So that's an incantation versus an affirmation. We actually looked up incantation, and the definition is more like it's a magic spell or something. But this is what Tony calls the incantation. He talks about progress equaling happiness, and that most things in life that we achieve or that we get, you know, I want that new car or that new house or that new job or that money or whatever, and we get the thing, and how long does the happiness that you expected from it last, right? For me, it's not that long. You know, I think about like, you know, I bought a new car, and it was like driving home, I was already thinking about the next car. You know, like I can't even enjoy it in the moment. I'm already on to the next thing. And that's how my brain works, at least. I'm like, got the thing, what's the next thing, you know? I like don't even take the time to enjoy what I've got before I'm already thinking about what's the next thing. He talked about the ability to find the good in things, find joy, find happiness in the midst of crap, right? When life is dealing you a load of crap, to still find some joy. And he says that happiness and joy are habits. And just like I was saying, if I'm focused on the positive versus focused on the negative, I'm going to get more of the positive. I'm going to do another exercise with you that he did with us, because I thought it was equally, I can't think of the word, but okay. Make an angry face, right? Think about being angry, like clenching your teeth and, so angry at that person, or, you know. Now make a super happy face. Right? Like, oh my God, yeah. And he said, like, make an ecstatic noise. Oh yeah, that's so great. Blah, blah, blah. All right? And he called that physiology. Like, you just did that. You made yourself so angry, and then you made yourself so happy. Like, it's in you to be able to shift that. But when I'm in the mood of so angry, it's hard to think that I could just snap out of it and be so happy. But, you know, according to him, these things are all just habits, and we can retrain ourselves. And again today, he talked about focus equals feeling. If you focus on something, it will be true, or it will feel true. So again, that's that same thing about like whatever you focus on, you're gonna get. He's very repetitive. He says things like in a very similar yet different way. So it's not the same sentence, but it says the same thing again. So it kind of like beats that same message into you. And something really great he said was he will not say that he's depressed. He's talking about the different ways of language and words that we speak to ourselves and to others. And he will not say that he's depressed. And he used to be depressed when he was a kid, I guess. But he said he will not say he's depressed because he doesn't want to let that word, that language define him. He will say that he's sad or he's having a bad day or something like that. But as soon as he says he's depressed, like that whole thing just takes over him. And I get that because like when I admit depression, like I'm a depressive type, I get depressed, and once I admit that I'm depressed, it's almost like, oh, now I'm depressed, you know? And I don't know that I'm going to actually be able to do it, but again, it's just something to really think about and to say, like earlier, like I was saying, we're just stopping in his tracks. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but I want to try. I want to tell myself that I can do it. I'd rather say that I can than I can't, you know? And I'm going to fail, I'm going to fall, and I'm just going to have to get back up and try again, you know? And that's, again, the kind of stuff he's always saying. It's just this, it's not new information. It's just in his way. And it's very energetic, and that's why it's so easy to listen to. All right, now I'm almost done. Just hang on with me for a little bit longer. After Tony was done talking today, we went back to his host, KK, and she had us do this thing talking about patterns. You take your hands and separate them, and you put them together with your fingers closed, right? Like that. You clasp them together. Open them up, clasp them together. Open them up. Do that a couple times, okay? And then keep them clasped, right? Look down. Did one of your thumbs, is your hand one way versus the other way? Like my right fingers are over my left fingers every single time, right? Now, try to switch your fingers the other way. For me, this feels really weird and awkward to do. And she said, so now do this and try to open your hands and have them go back that same way on the opposite fingers. And it's awkward. My fingers are hitting each other. I can't do it. And it's not that you can't do it. It's just the pattern that you're in. And you have to learn how to break this pattern. And I'm like, this stuff is all so simple, but it makes so much sense. Like, it's not that hard for me to do this. It just feels weird. So if we can get past that weird feeling, you know, you can change a pattern. She talked about decisions. You know, a lot of us do this dance where we're in the middle of what we want and what is comfortable. So like, you know, I want a new job, but I'm really comfortable with the job I've got. So I'm like doing this dance right now where I'm like, I'm not going to leave this job. I'm not going to do that job either. I'm just going to like sit here. And that a decision is to cut off from any other option. So like you have to actually make a decision. And I am terrible at making decisions. I'd rather just dance and play until I know the thing is right or one fails, you know, and then the decision is made for me. We talked about belief systems, and having a belief is a feeling of absolute certainty that you and I have about something, right? That is a belief. And that we also have these limiting beliefs. And some of our limiting beliefs are we don't have enough time, enough money, we're not smart enough, we don't have a degree, blah, 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 all these things. And she wraps it under BS, right? Which you probably think means bullshit, is what she even said. And I'm like, yeah, bullshit. And she goes, no, that is BS, is belief system, because your belief system is bullshit, right? So she then said she wanted us to name our belief system, give it a nasty name, right? And when she said nasty name, the first thing I thought of was fuckface. And I'm like, all right, I got to think of a better name than that, right? So I couldn't actually think of a better name. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll call him like Frank, or, you know, and I'm like, okay, I can't think of anything. I'm like, all right, it's fuckface, right? That's my belief system. And I think it's actually appropriate because I have such a negative belief system. That's what I'm naming it. And so a lot of these things that we did are these tiny little shifts, right? And they talk about it being the 2 millimeter shift. A lot of these things were just like a very small change in my perspective, in my attitude, in my facial expression, and my posture. And, you know, they're very small things that can make a big impact in a lot of things. So I'm trying to like digest all of this information and, you know, live it. It's going to be really hard. It's going to take a lot of practice, but that's why I'm, you know, rewriting it on the blog. I'm making a video about it. I'm immersing myself in this stuff. I'm trying to live it because this is something that has held me back my entire life, and I don't know how to change it. Therapy hasn't helped. Other programs have touched the surface, but I haven't been able to get in there. You know, I've done a lot of work on myself over the last 5 years, and it's never been able to cut in, you know? It's all been able to like skim layers off, but nothing's really been able to dig in. And I'm not sure that this is or not, but I mean, I'm feeling energized by this. So I'm really hoping and praying to God that this is going to make some sort of a shift, right? Okay, and then today's homework is, what are 2 decisions you've been putting off? One big and one small. What will it cost you if you don't follow through? And what's one action you can take immediately toward these decisions? I haven't done the homework yet. So I'm going to do the homework, and I'm going to go live on Facebook, because that's the thing. You have to go live on Facebook and you have to do this thing. And I'm going to do that, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. Then we're going to go on to day 3 tomorrow. All right. Sorry this was so long. Peace out. Oh yeah, like and subscribe and do all that stuff.